short. But as you can see by the title there, it is really important. The fourth cure of a lean purse is when you start to accumulate some money, which we did in the previous lesson. It's pretty easy to lose it. Especially for somebody who's never had money before. So as you start accumulating, you have to be very conscious of blowing it because it can easily be done. So number one rule, and it's probably the most commonly violated, is don't take advice from the wrong people. In the little story in the book, once he accumulated some money, he gave his money to the brickmaker and asked the brickmaker to invest it for them. But how do you suppose that turned out? What does the brickmaker know about making money? Brickmakers know how to make bricks. Bakers know how to make bread. You want to find someone, model, either if you're going to do it yourself, you model successful people who have done exactly what you want, or you do your research and you find somebody who's got the skill set and track record to handle your money for you. But you don't take advice from the wrong people. The other classic example I always get, I teach entrepreneurship as well. And I will have somebody who decides they want to start a business. And then they go talk to their brother-in-law, and their brother-in-law says, that would be stupid. I knew somebody once who started a business and they lost everything. And consequently, they don't move forward. Well, what they failed to ask is, did the brother-in-law ever run a business? Well, no, never did. But he's got an opinion. Well, forget about that. Don't ask your parents for money advice unless they're rich. It sounds a little harsh, but what do they know about it? They've never done it. Don't ask advice from somebody who has not achieved or trained for the results that you're looking for. If you think about it, it makes sense. And yet people do it all, with money all the time. They're asking their brother-in-law and their mom and dad, what do you think? Or a spouse. Again, I know you care about these people, they care about you. Doesn't mean they know anything about money. You shouldn't be asking about the stock market questions to someone who has not invested in the stock market. Or the other one I get a lot of is real estate advice from somebody who's never bought any other than maybe their personal residence. They've not bought apartment buildings and other investment properties. And yet people are asking, what do you think? Should I do this? Their opinion is worthless. Get over it. So get advice in investing from experts, not your poor friends and relatives. Look at their reputation, credentials, results, something. They have to have something that gives you some indication they would be able to give you good advice. So advice from people with the results you want, very important. A basic truism, I don't know where I first saw this, but a fool and their money are soon parted. It's a classic statement. The next one I've always liked too. Again, don't know where I picked it up. When a person with money meets a person with experience, very soon the person with the experience will have the money, and the person with the money will have the experience. Read that a couple times over. That is so true. A lot of how you will gain experience in life is by making bad decisions. I'm trying to prevent some of that by telling you this in advance. People are looking to take your money. Not necessarily steal it. You'll give it to them voluntarily. But everybody is not there to help you. It's a common fate of lottery winners. You've all probably heard the stories about average lottery winner within 2 or 3 years is broke, even after they had money. That's because they get, quote, a lot of help, a lot of expert advice. And what it does is separate the fool from their money. Basic caution in the chapter is understand risk and return. They're connected. If somebody's talking to you about all the money you can make, look, it's going to be tons of money, that may be true. But if they tell you there's no risk attached to that, they're a crook. They're probably conning you. There is usually risk related, and it usually works inversely. More risk, more risk, more return, less risk, less return. If you put it on a graph, it slopes up and to your right. If you are willing to have a small rate of return, if you don't want risk, you're going to get a small rate of return. If you want a big rate of return, you're going to have to accept there is risk to it. There's no big rate of return and low risk. Now, there could be a situation where you think you're getting a big rate of return, but here's what risk means, is you lose your money. And that's okay, as long as you knew it up front. There's no big rate of return where no chance of losing my money. If there is that no chance of losing my money, then there probably wasn't much chance for rate of return. So, second point, make sure you understand what you're investing in. Don't, again, do things in areas where you have no idea what they're doing. The analogy I've always liked is poker. If you sit down to play a game of poker with people who are really good and they know different types of games and all this stuff, and at the end of the game, you throw down your cards, and you have to look around the table with the people you're competing against, and you're asking, did I win? Well, that's not going to end well. Did I win with a question mark is not what you want to be. And that's the way a lot of people are with their investments. If you aren't willing to understand, take the time to understand your investment, you shouldn't be in that investment. Now, if stocks are beyond your understanding and your willingness to learn, then you shouldn't be turning your money over to somebody just for that reason. Unless you really trust them. You've done your research. Make sure you know your advisors. Use professionals in the field. This goes back to the first point. Don't use the baker or the bricklayer. Use professionals. That's part of what my unique hook in the financial world is. As you can see there, I have every credential known to mankind. I've got the PhD in finance, chartered life underwriter, chartered financial consultant, chartered financial analyst, certified financial planner, and in the world of real estate, I have other ones. That's what you're looking for. Now, you're not going to find somebody with all those. I don't think I've ever run across somebody. But you need somebody who has probably got some credentials behind them. The other credential that's not on here that works, sometimes, not always, is they're rich, and they got rich doing the thing you're asking them to do. Now, if they got rich doing something else, they got rich in real estate, don't ask them for stock advice. If they got rich in the stock market, don't ask them about real estate. Going back, these are fundamentals that we have talked about. But it's a big deal. People will, and even after you accumulate some money, they really come after you. I've been approached many times by people who quote the term in the money world is run my money. They want to run my money. And I've always enjoyed, I hand them my business card. The Merrill Lynch guy comes, pitch it, you heard I had some money, and they want to run my money. And I hand him my business card. He hands me his. And then I look at his and I hand him mine. And then I always tell him, if your credentials to run my money are better than my credentials to run my money, I will be happy to shift my money over to your management. And I've been doing this for a long time. and I am still running my own money. So what you're looking for is an advisor who has more knowledge about it than you do. Okay? Now, with all that said, where should I invest my money? Well, let's see. This will depend on your background. Let's try, how about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and all the endless variations? Really? Do you, or anybody else for that matter, really understand what you're investing in when you buy cryptocurrency? I'll bet not. I have asked that question to a lot. I get the question a lot because of my position and background. And then I always counter it with, what do you know about cryptocurrency? Tell me all you know. And they never know anything. And if they do know anything, it's wrong. Well, that's not where you want to put your money. How about derivatives? Well, and I will ask them, do you even know what a derivative is? If they can't tell me it's options and puts and calls and swaps, and if they don't understand that, they shouldn't be doing it. And even if they understand a little bit what those are, most of that's speculative. Most derivatives should only be used by the average person for hedging. And again, if you don't understand what I just said, you shouldn't be doing it. Or you need more education on how to do it. Oh, how about invest in marijuana? I get a lot of that lately too. Frankly, you're probably better off smoking it. Unless you really know the investment. It's a new industry, at least a new legal industry. But is this where you want to? There's a lot of sounds too good to be true here. The hammer and nail bias is, again, you talk to a person who sells stocks, they'll tell you stocks are the best thing. Somebody sells bonds.